Aloha. My name is Mike Moran for the Kihei Community Association. We are an all-volunteer, unfunded, nonprofit community association. This evening, October 20th, we welcome you to our general membership meeting, which is open to the entire community, but we ask viewers and listeners to consider joining us as a member. You can do so on our website, gokihei.org, and go to the members section, and you can sign up to support KCA. You don't have to be a member, but if we have no members, we'll have no association, no meetings, and no candidate forums. We always like to start with a mahalo to our KCA directors or volunteers, our members, and to the community who supports us. And tonight we extend a mahalo to the 4 candidates who are presenting their points of view and why they think you should vote for them in their respective races. We try and reinforce, although I think everybody that's here tonight on here is aware of, remind others that we have 9 council members. So tonight we have representatives from East Maui and from Moloka. But those representatives, or the winners of those races, have as much to say about what happens in South Kihei as does the South Maui, as does the South Maui rep, because they all collectively represent the whole county. So make sure you vote for, well, I guess you should vote for 7. You don't have to vote for the 2 unopposed candidates, but at least you should be voting for 7 if you haven't already voted. The first segment tonight is we're going to hear from the 2 candidates for East Maui, the incumbent Shane Sinensi and the challenger Claire Carroll. The second segment will follow the same outline of the county council contest between the incumbent for Moloka, Kiani Rollins-Fernandez, and the challenger Stacy Crivello. We remind everyone that these are county representatives. It's not like the state where you're just voting for your district representative. These are county representatives. So vote for all in the general election, which we say is November 3rd, but we know it's actually almost a month-long election period. If you've already voted, congratulations. If you have not, don't wait till the last minute. Between the 2 segments, we'll just mention about our own KCA election. This is the time that we look for new directors for our board for 2021, and we'll mention briefly that you have up to October 31st to participate. So for both segments will be the same, that we will open with each candidate offering a 1-minute opening comment, followed by a series of questions with time-limited answers, and then a 1-minute closing statement. We will read each question as it is shown on the screen, and when you have 30 seconds remaining, you will hear the sound that our Secretary Treasurer Patricia sounds to let you know you have 30 seconds remaining. So we're starting tonight with East Maui, and we're just going to alternate whoever makes the opening statement, which tonight Shane will have one minute to make his opening statement, followed by 1-minute opening statement by Claire. Then we'll switch the order as we go into the first question. So Shane, if you're ready to go, we'll start you off with your 1-minute opening statement. Shane, please take it away.
Aloha, Mr. Moran. Can you hear me?
Hear you just fine.
Okay. Mahalo. Aloha and mahalo Kihei Community Association for inviting me tonight to your candidate forum. Also, mahalo to Mr. Moran and Mr. Weltman. My colleagues elected me as the Environment, Agriculture, and Cultural Preservation Committee on the Maui County Council. And I think this was appropriate because of my background as an instructor, an educator, and a practitioner of the last 20 years. During my community service, I chaired the Hana Community Association in Hana, served on the advisory committee to the Planning Commission, and also served as the Ahamoku representative for 8 years. My work on the council included iwi kupuna protections by proposing a county archaeologist. We addressed plastic pollution in our oceans by expanding single-use plastic foodware restrictions. And finally, I voted to take the charter amendment for the Department of Agriculture to the people for a vote on the ballot so that we could promote food security during these challenging times. So again, mahalo for having me, and I look forward to the questions tonight.
Thank you very much, Shane. I didn't hear the 30-second warning. Either my ears are getting bad or we didn't have enough volume, but
The speaker forgot to unmute, sorry.
okay, well, that's all right. We can't fire you, so you're in good shape. Okay, Claire, we'll ask you to give your piece, please, and maybe we'll give you a 30-second warning. Maybe we won't. Take it away, Claire, please.
Aloha, this is Claire Kamalu Carroll, and I'm from Hana. I'm running for Maui County Council, East Maui seat. Kihei is dear to my heart. I lived in Kihei for 11 years. My background is also the chair of Hana Community Association, where we were fortunate to raise enough funds to work on a new playground for our community. I've also served as chair to the Planning Commission. Kihei has gone through much changes. I am a candidate that will truly listen to the community and their thoughts and how we should move forward together as one. I bring to you an open ear, concern for all those around Maui County. Kihei, I humbly ask for your vote. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Claire. Once again, either my ears are bad or I didn't hear any 30-second warning, so we'll do the best we can. Okay, our first question, and we'll flip now. So Claire, you will be answering first, please. And the first question is a 90-second one. So you'll talk for 1 minute, and we may or may not hear that 30-second warning. But the question is, should there be a homeless service center in South Maui? If so, how will it get funded? If not, what solutions do you propose for our unsheltered residents in South Maui? Claire, take it away, please.
Perfect. That is something that we need to bring to the community themselves. They are in agreement to bring in a shelter to South Maui. When we talk about our homeless community, there's many factors. We have mental health, we have abuse, drug abuse. You know, we need to step up into supplying these medical needs that are much necessary for our homeless population. And some people, they're going into hardship. We face COVID-19. People are getting evicted by the loopholes of leases being terminated because landowners cannot apply, will not apply, or don't know how to apply for these fundings. Education is very important to our community in spreading the word and offering the assistance in order to get these programs that are offered by County of Maui. Mahalo.
Thank you, Claire. Okay, Shane, same question for you, 90 seconds. If the question pops up, here it comes. Okay, so I won't read it, Shane. You take it away, please. You have 90 seconds.
Mahalo, Mr. Moran, for the question. I think we missed an opportunity during this last 7 months of the pandemic. You know, prior to inviting people over to your house, you clean up and you put everything away. And I think we missed that opportunity to address this problem prior to opening up the county to our visitors. I visited the Waihata homeless camp with Sherry Amana prior to the police sweeps. By just seeing the people there, people lack the basic access to running water and bathrooms. Some expressed some discrimination that they tried to stay at some of the county pallet home sites. But I think homeless shelters don't always have the resources for veterans, for disability, accessibility, nor mental health resources. So I do support a homeless shelter in South Maui. However, I believe partnerships need to be extended to other intergovernmental agencies that have the necessary resources that can help with the high needs homeless population. Mahalo.
Thank you, Shane. And guys, I'll offer a correction on myself as I'm looking ahead here. I had said that there would be many 1-minute questions. I don't see anyone. They're mostly 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes. So I don't know what I was thinking of shortening the period, but we'll state it on each one. So the next question, this is another 90-second limit. And Shane, you'll start off now with this one. How will you ensure that the North-South Collector Road is fully funded and constructed? Shane, take it away, please.
Mahalo, Mr. Moran, for the question. Yeah, I'm one of the 3 council members that sit on the Maui Metropolitan Planning Organization, the MPO, and I voted for the approval of an accelerated TIP amendment schedule for incoming federal stimulus funding. In this amendment, we added Maui County Public Works Project MC-7, the Kihei North South Collector Road. Phase 1 from Kulani-Hakoi Street to Waipuilani Street for fiscal year 2022. The amendment allocates 3.8 million of federal funds and 19 million of local funds towards the project. According to the project status report, the design is about 40% complete, and the environmental permitting documents are currently being prepared. I also support House Bill 1930, Senate Bill 2687 at the state legislature relating to a rental car surcharge tax that could potentially help with the project. Mahalo.
Thank you, Shane. Claire, of course, same question for you. And here it comes. Okay, Claire, you have 90 seconds. I don't know what happened to our 30-second warning, but you guys have been doing very well with your timing. Claire, take it away, please.
Mahalo. As of now, I've had many complaints from South. I made friends, and we have Ohana down in the North-South Kihei. I would definitely be advocating to set those monies on the side. And thank you, Councilmember Sinanci, for work you're doing. But I would also be supporting those monies allocated to get this roadway completed. I can see that it's only 40% complete, but we've been working on this for years. It's about time we do a fast pace and see why it's only 40%, but definitely I am in support of completing the roadway. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Claire. Okay, our third question. Claire, you will start this one off. And again, it's another 90-second question. What steps should be taken to reduce flooding and stormwater runoff, particularly in North Kihei? Claire, 90 seconds, please.
First of all, the infrastructure down in North Kihei was inadequate for the community, period. There are steps what we can take, but we need careful planning to be aware of all that runoff. I actually lived in North Kihei, so I know firsthand the problems that Kihei residents have been facing for years. Every time there's a storm, it blocks off the community. And especially by the old Maui Lu, you know, they put that median in the center. Eh, I don't agree of what was done. But we need to get back to the drawing board and make sure that these runoffs from the mountainside is not going into the ocean. Again, I say the infrastructure from the beginning was not planned very adequately. Mahalo.
Thank you, Claire. Okay, Shane, same question for you. 90-second time limit, please. Shane?
Mahalo for the question, Mr. Moran. Yeah, historically, when you look at South Maui, you know, and without a lot of forests and greenery, it's just become a runoff from the north section of Haleakala. So if you look out towards the coastline, it's all waterfowl area, and so I think when planning long term for Kihei and its drainage plans, I think for larger developments, they should be looking at placing basins that will slow down and collect some of the runoff that will be coming down from the mountain, just so that we can hold it long enough to replenish some of the whether there's wells or underwater springs, to go ahead and slow down that water from eroding into the ocean. We supported a $2 million Kihei number 16 pump station for rehabilitation and to force main replacement. So I'm supportive of R1 infrastructure and water reuse at the South Maui station. So again, I think looking at Moloka to
Time.
affect those things down Makai. Mahalo.
Thank you, Shane. Okay, our next question is another 2-minute limit. And Shane, you will start this one off. And you see the question, at what point should managed retreat from threatened coastal areas in South Maui, such as North Kihei Road and sections of South Kihei Road, begin to be executed? And what do you think is the best remedy against future loss of South Kihei Road? Shane, you have 2 minutes on this one.
Okay, mahalo. I think, you know, first off, Mr. Moran, with the state's Slorexa and presenting that to the counties, I think first off we need to look at sea level rise and climate action. I think by following those policies that has been set by the state, that we can start to fund a retreat from the coastline. I think we should be working closely with the county planning department to stop any further large developments along the coastlines, and also to really look at any more developments in the special management areas. So I'm looking at it from a policy perspective, so that we can slowly move away from the coastlines. On West Maui, we're seeing the use of the community districts funding to start to look at retreating at the Napili and the Kahana areas. So looking forward to working more with climate action policies. Mahalo.
Thank you, Shane. Claire, of course, same question for you with a 2-minute limit. And there's that question. So Claire, whenever you're ready, take it away, please.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
You know, the question says, at what point? It's now. The point is now. Climate change is happening as we speak. We face the same problem in Lahaina, Hana, and Kihei. To retreat, there should be no buildings like built close to shore. We're already facing the problem. The problem is here. The planning department has stated on pushing buildings more back, but we need to save the roadways. There's families, not only resorts or condos, there's families living down in North Kihei Road. We need to work closely with our highway division and see how we can protect the roadway, especially on North Kihei Road. When the sand blasts, it causes the sand to disappear and go into the other side. We have like sand mounds, and that's being taken away by the wind alone in Kihei. Usually in the evenings, there's a very strong wind, and that takes the sand dunes away. But at what point? It's now. We need to take action immediately. Whether we like it or not, climate change is here and very active for our residents. Mahalo.
Thank you, Claire. And I'll just jump in here and say that when you're answering not only this question, but yeah, obviously these issues that we're addressing for South Maui aren't solely here, but that's our charge. I mean, you guys are charged as a representing the whole county. Our bylaws say we're representing just South Maui, so we address this question like that. But yes, a lot of these are county-wide problems, or at least island-wide problems. And yes, you guys are doing the appropriate thing. You're not putting the blinders on. You're saying, well, yeah, let's see what they're doing at other places and what will work here and what might not work here. But I just wanted to phrase that in there, that that's our charge. Say South Maui, even though these issues are certainly much wider, and especially climate change and sea level rise, that's worldwide. So they're much wider. Okay, our next question, and Claire, you'll start this one. This is another 2-minute question, a 2-minute answer. How will you reduce the gap between supporting infrastructure, including open space and greenways for exercise and mobility, and new development? So Claire, your first 2 minutes, please.
Thank you for mentioning greenways. You know, the first person that comes to mind is Joe Bertram. And then, though he is not with us today, greenways, he had been advocating for many, many years. And when we see the Veterans Highway as part of their Greenway project, I will truly support our greenways. You know, that has been very helpful. I myself, where I lived, it was 8.25 miles to Alamaha Street, and I would ride my bicycle. I felt safe. We need to create more greenways. I'm sure Kihei community would truly appreciate the continued work on greenways throughout Kihei. We promote exercise, and I feel safe with greenways, and I've experienced that firsthand. For building, we should incorporate that to have that space available for our community to use without being threatened by speeding cars. And we all know in Kihei, you know, you don't go on a green light. You wait a couple of seconds before going through. But the safety of a community should be number one. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Claire. Shane, for you, same question, of course, and you have 2 minutes. So Shane, when you're ready, go ahead, please.
Okay, mahalo, Mr. Moran, for the question. I just wanted to say that I've been happy to be a part of the Keao Hali'i Conservation Group of Hana, where we're secured, right now we secured over 40 acres of conservation lands along the coastlines in East Maui. It took dedication from our community, a lot of hard work with the Hawaii Island Land Trust, and of course with the county administration and with the council as well. So we're happy to have put already over 40 acres into conservation for our children, and we're looking at more to put into conservation. Mahalo for that. We also have the conservation committee that's being proposed at the county level, and so we're hoping that through the conservation committee we can go ahead and look not just in East Maui, but look at other tracts of land, specifically along the coastlines, where we can quickly put into conservation for community use, open space, and in anticipation of sea level rise. So mahalo for the question.
Thank you very much, Shane. Okay, our next question is a 90-second time answer. And Shane, you start this one off. What future would you like to see for the remaining North Kihei wetlands, and how will you realize that vision? So Shane, you have 90 seconds to answer that tough one.
Right. Thank you for the question. Like I said, historically, Kihei is the wetlands. I mean, you look at from Wailuku, Ahupua'a, and all those, and down from Waikapu, all of those streams emptied down into the wetlands of South Maui and South Kihei. I think we need to add more protections. In the past, we've seen developers try to fill over these wetlands and try to sell it for top dollar. I think we need to stop that practice. It's not a sustainable practice for us. I think we need those wetlands, as I mentioned before, to accommodate the inundation of sea level rise should, the sea, come in further. So I think we need to protect those wetlands and look above Pi'ilani Highway and start looking up and move up above the highway. Mahalo for the question.
Okay, thank you very much, Shane. And Claire, of course, same question for you. 90-second time limit answer. When you're ready, Claire, please.
Aloha, and thank you for the question. I signed up as a volunteer for the open space conservation, and unfortunately, I was not picked to participate in this, which is part of our culture. The wetlands. I'm happy that we have fenced off some of the wetlands and preserving them. That's what makes Kihei Kihei. The wetlands, to preserve it, is very important. And when it's high tide, it begins to raise, and we shouldn't be building on any of these areas, especially the wetlands. To preserve them and continue to support around our island, especially Kihei, the lands that have been put on the side should be in a conservation area and not being able to have a developer come in and destroy our wetlands. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Claire. Okay, this is our final question. You'll have time to make a closing statement, but this will be the final question. It has 90-second time limit, and Claire, you go first on this one. So 90 seconds, allowing nutrient-rich water to reach the ocean through the Kihei injection wells is not only detrimental to the reefs and our precious marine environment, but it's also a waste of water in a very dry and thirsty region. How will you accelerate the transition of so-called wastewater from the Kihei injection wells to use in irrigation? So Claire, 90 seconds, please.
Yes, I believe we should be addressing this infrastructure. There's many places that could use this R1 system They're nearly drinkable water, but to put it into areas instead of using groundwater to water our grass, to be conservative. Kihei, you know, assuring that people are watering on appropriate times, but to create this infrastructure is necessary. We are wasting a lot of water that could be used in areas to become useful instead of being in our ocean. Mahalo.
Thank you, Claire. Shane, same question for you, please. And you have 90 seconds if you want to take that much time to answer this last question.
Mahalo, Mr. Moran, for the question. Yeah, I supported the CBS 5030, the capital improvement project for the Liloa Drive recycled water line, where the construction of approximately 2,300 linear feet recycled water distribution between Liloa Drive and the South Maui Collector Road. So definitely supportive of increasing the infrastructure for more recycled water usage. I think we also need to look at maybe the water use development plan. And we've always given some of the resorts down in South Kihei so much water to use. And I think we should be more so than some of the other counties. So I think we need to look at decreasing some of that water and maybe looking for expansion for resorts to use recycled water. Mahalo for the question.
Thank you, Shane. Okay, now we're up to your 1-minute closing statements. And Shane, you're up first, so please give us your 1-minute closing statement for this evening.
Okay. Oh, mahalo, Mr. Moran, for the questions tonight. This is kind of like speed dating, but then I would know. In closing, my final thoughts is that I just want to say I'm happy that the work that I've done on the council during this last term, me and my other colleagues, we've managed to address the issues like the Lahaina injection wells, and to try and free up some of those monies that were caught up in litigation and concentrate on actually fixing the problem versus trying to fix more litigation in court. I think we voted for several truly affordable homes projects that serve residents, particularly below the 80% AMI. And so I'm happy about that. And in anticipation of the effects of this pandemic, we managed to cut the mayor's budget by $50 million by moving CIP projects to bond funding and putting off purchases that could be done in a later date. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Shane. And Claire, your 1-minute closing statement, please.
Okay. Mahalo, and I thank Kihei for this time and opportunity to bring this forum together on this Zoom meeting and to educate our community and they can hear our concerns. You know, like I said, Kihei has always held a special place in my heart. I've been there for 11 years and I've seen the changes. I've seen the higher traffic, the infrastructure that needs to be addressed. I'm truly a candidate that works with our community. I've been feeding communities around Maui, thousands. We're in a COVID-19. The budget needs to be trimmed, and we need to make good decisions that will not cost our taxpayers more money than they can afford it. We have many unemployment communities that still have not gone to work. Maui is open, and we all know that Wailea holds a large part of the hospitality industry. We need the health and welfare of our community to always be first. Addressing these infrastructures is highly important because that will take us into the future. I humbly ask tonight for your vote, Claire Kamalu Carroll, on your ballot, or visit claireformaui.com. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Claire and Shane. The one downside to this is at this point in the old days, we'd have at least 100, maybe 150 people standing up and applauding you guys for coming all the way here. Instead, you get these two hands. That's all we have to offer. But our
We will take
community,
that.
that girl, our community certainly does appreciate. There can only be one winner in it, but it takes. I don't have to tell you guys that, but it takes a tremendous effort just to go through this process. And if people just said, "Oh, I don't care," I'm not going to do it. Let somebody else do it. Well, then we'd be in a lot deeper situation than we are now. So we thank you both for stepping up, and you're always doing things for the community, but trying to take this one additional step. So we thank you very much. We don't have to say get home safe. That's one advantage that we have. But thank you very much, and we wish you the best of luck up to that day in November, when we hopefully, at least on Maui, will have results. So mahalo and aloha.
Aloha. Thank you, Shane. Have a good night.
Hello, Claire. Good night.
Bye.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Okay, guys, so I'll give our little in-between pitch for the KCA board. Our bylaws require a board of anywhere from 8 to 20 directors. And over the years I've been here, we never got quite down to 8. We got down to 9 at one point, and we did have as many as 20. But it takes a commitment that you're going to volunteer for a year. It's a 1-year commitment. Nobody is automatically coming back. So there are imposed term limits, but if the community keeps voting you in and you're willing to participate, there's not a restriction. We don't have a time limit, and honestly, it's a challenge to get people to make that commitment. Even when we ask for membership, I've had many a community member say to me, "Well, why should I join? I get all the benefits. I can go to that website anytime. I can go to these meetings at any time. I can sign up for the newsletters. Why should I pay?" And of course, the true answer is, if nobody joins, nobody participates, the association won't be around. And there are many places in Maui County that don't have associations anymore. So we ask people to join, but at this time of year, we're looking for candidates for the 2021 board. Our bylaws require that we have a candidate slate set to present to the membership, because the membership votes. And our bylaws say October 31st. By Halloween, we have to have. So you still have another 10 days to apply. If you have not already applied, go to the website, fill out the application, and send it in. And then we will do a quick interview with you and hope to increase our numbers. This year, we currently, as we're closing out this year, we have that happy medium of 10 members. Unfortunately, we started the year with 11, but as he was mentioned, Joe Bertram had come back after all those years, and on his final year on this earth on Maui, he re-upped to be on the board for KCA. Unfortunately, he didn't last the whole year, but now he's giving us guidance from wherever he is to keep saying that, yes, get those greenways built. I didn't get them built, but the association can. So if you have an interest, please fill out an application and get it in. We'd sure like to get more people. We could use some younger people, just like we see with the county council, right? You're getting a mix. Give us old guys a chance to take it easy. We need some youth in here, get some fresh ideas. So please, interested, if you can participate, please do so. We understand fully when somebody says, Mike, I haven't got the time to make the commitment. Well, then, no, we get that. That's a good, honest answer. If you can't help, don't sign up just to not participate. But if you think you can help, please get busy and join. And that's our pitch. No parties. There's no opposition. We have plenty of room for some new blood. So if you're interested, please go to the website, goph.org, and sign up. Okay, so we'll move on to our second segment. We're moving off island over to Molokai, and we're going to follow the same process that we did in the first half, except with, of course, two new candidates. We have two Wahinis from Molokai joining us again. They joined us 2 years ago, and the same two are back again to explain why they think they are the better person to fill that seat. So it will be the same process. We will start off with a 1-minute introduction, and we'll start off with Kiani first, and then Stacy follow her, and then we'll alternate as we go through the questions. We'll flip-flop who is starting and who's finishing. In the first half, I didn't hear our 30-second warning very much, but most of you are used to it, and you seem to get in under the time limit, at whether it was 60 seconds, 90 seconds, or 120. Okay, I'll stop talking, and we'll have Kiani, would you please give us 60 seconds of your introductory statement?
Mahalo, Mike, and mahalo to the Kihei Community Association and for hosting tonight's forum, and to everyone for joining us tonight and participating through all your comments on Facebook. Like you said, Mike, it's so important to remain engaged. Aloha mai kako, I'm Kiani Rollins Fernandez, born and raised on Molokai and proud to now raise my children here in Molokai with my husband. I have a law degree and a master's degree in business administration. I'm your current Molokai Residency Council member, Council Vice Chair, and Chair of the Economic Development and Budget Committee. As promised in the last election, I made transparency, community empowerment, increased public accessibility, and participation in government a priority by transitioning council and committee meetings held online like this, accepting live public testimony from wherever the person is, making Maui County the first council in the state to do so. I've developed great working relationships with my colleagues on the council, in the administration, and at the state level that have proven to be beneficial to our county as I collaborate with them on solution-oriented actions. You can learn more about me at votekiani.com. I respectfully ask for your vote by November 3rd. Everyone in Maui County can vote for all council races. Mahalo, Mike.
Thank you very much, Kiani. Okay, Stacy, we don't see you, but I think we're about to. No, or
I'm
Stacy?
unable to start. It says the host has stopped it. My video.
Uh-oh. Well, Rob, can you check if we can hear Stacy, but we can't see her?
Yeah, when I try to, okay, start my video. Okay.
There you are. Yeah, now we see you.
Okay. Aloha.
Okay,
Aloha, Mike.
Stacy, go right ahead. You have 1 minute starting now.
Aloha. My name is Stacey Helm Crivello, and I'm a longtime born and raised resident of Molokai. I want to say, no matter where you live, people, you can vote for all 9 districts. So I retired from leadership from the Verizon telecommunications, handling the Molokai Lanai operations. My leadership wears a badge of advocacy and collaboration, and caring for the environment starts off with me being a founder of the Molokai East Watershed, which is in full action today, as well as protecting our lands and our pristine coastline, as well as our cultural resources that have just reincarnated, I would say, with the Molokai Land Trust. During my years on the council, I help advance housing projects, such as the University of Hawaii project that's going on now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stacy. Okay, Stacy, you'll get the first question, and if you were listening to the other guys, you may have heard the same questions. So this one is a 90-second time limit answer. Should there be a homeless service center in South Maui? If so, how will it get funded? And if not, what solutions do you propose for our unsheltered residents in South Maui? Stacy, take it away, please.
I think throughout the years, Mike, you will recall many community meetings with our homeless population and our advocates. And the Kahali Akeola nonprofit has been trying to coordinate to establish some sort of unsheltered place for our people. It can be the same way how I've worked with the state legislators, the Hawaii Housing Finance Development Corporation, and trying to put together in partnership how we leverage each other's funding to see how we can find some available building that we can transform to have rooms or shelters for our unsheltered individuals. There are many opportunities that we have to look at, but first of all, we have to set the goal to provide housing first. And that's how the Department of Housing and Human Concern has been working ongoingly and have been able to provide housing first for many of our unsheltered population. So I believe we can get funding. We have the Ohana Zone funding. We have the state legislators who represents our Maui districts that are very collaborative to work with the County of Maui and the nonprofits.
Thank you very much, Stacy. Oh, Kiani, same question for you, please, with a 90-second limit. And you can see the question on the screen, so I won't repeat it.
Mahalo, Mike. Yes, I support a service center that serves those who are unsheltered because it's something that I understand is supported and is important to the South Maui community. This year, I authored and passed legislation to form a new Commission on Healing Solutions for Homelessness, the first of its kind in the state, which takes a holistic approach to seeking solutions for homelessness, healing communities by maximizing engagement, and acknowledging poverty as a symptom of a larger social and economic issue. Drugs and houselessness are not the problem. They are symptoms of the problem. The structure of oppression only serves the few on the backs of the disadvantaged masses. This commission will enable the community members to contribute to this issue that many are concerned will be exacerbated by this pandemic with the impact that it's had on our economy. I would also support Councilmember King's effort to ensure South Maui is returned a mobile hygiene unit that it was originally funded for. Wow.
Thanks, Kiani. Okay, our second question, and Kiani, you will answer this one first, please. And this has a 90-second limit. How will you ensure that the North-South Collector Road is fully funded and constructed? 90 seconds, Kiani, please.
Mahalo, Mike. So I support funding the North-South Collector Road. What we have now is a great start to the North-South Collector Road. I've actually biked that road with Representative Wildberger, and it'll be wonderful when it's finally completed. This year, the council attempted to correct the mistake that was made in the last term, where the previous council voted against establishing a mechanism to infuse funding through a GET surcharge, providing an opportunity for our community to receive a tax credit that would help the county with additional funding to complete that road. All the other counties took advantage of this mechanism, and Maui County was the only one that did not. I would also support efforts to secure federal funding to complete this road, which will eventually replace the South Kihei Road. Mahalo, Mike.
Thanks, Kiani. Okay, Stacy, same question for you. And this one is a 90-second limit, and you see the question on the screen. So when you're set, Stacy, please.
Thank you. So we know that there's just about 4 phases for this particular project. That probably will cost about maybe starting from 20 million to 60 million. And the right now with the Department of Public Works, they are starting to I guess, infuse and initiate the design phase for the North-South Collector Road. And with the MPO, the Metropolitan Organization, they have selected programs for allocation of the federal transportation funding that's available for 2021 and I believe 2022. And this goes back from when I served as chair for the MPO. So the whole thing about it is that there's a possibility for this project that we may want to consider borrowing at least 80% and have the monies leveraged from the county also from future federal years funding, as well as providing for the reimbursement. So we know that these phases we will have, we can apply for competitive grants, and the efforts to create a multimodal project, which would also include a bus transit corridor, would also help for us to use other fundings too. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Stacy, you'll start the next one, our third question. Again, it's a 90-second limit. What steps should be taken to reduce flooding and stormwater runoff, particularly in North Kihei? Stacy, 90 seconds when you're ready, please.
Thank you. So the way I look at it, it's just basic common sense. So we know Moka to Makai that we're gonna have, when it rains, actually, and if you look at all of the gullies up there, there's a natural flow. So what we have is coming from Mauka, there's just too much water. So I would think with that kind of basic understanding, what we have to look at is what do we have to protect the runways or the roadways? Do we have any kind of drainage master plan in place? And it comes right back down to the infrastructure. So I think we got to come back to the come back on the table, and we will have to develop a drainage master plan for for the gulches that the water flow down to. And of course, I know the Department of Public Works, I believe they're assigned to always clear the culverts and the drainage on a regular basis. And that would be like a short-term approach for us to take care of the flooding. Sometimes we have no control how nature comes down, except if we can try and provide the infrastructure to go with that flow.
Time.
Perfect timing. Okay, our next question, Kiani, you will, am I stepping upon you? Yeah, I got confused there, but the next question is a 2-minute question, which I have Kiani starting. I don't know how that happened, but at what point should managed retreat from threatened coastal areas in South Maui, such as North Kihei Road and sections of South Kihei Road, begin to be executed? And what do you think is the best remedy against the future loss of South Kihei Road? 2 minutes, and Kiani, start, please.
Mike, were we each gonna answer the same question? Or
Oh, did I? That's what I skipped you from answering the question before, didn't I?
okay.
This old age stuff is getting me. We got to get some young blood in.
You're
Thank
doing
you,
a good job.
Kiani, for catching that. That's why I was off. Your opportunity to answer the prior question. Thank you for your help.
Mahalo, Mike. You're doing a wonderful job. Keep it up. In the last budget session, I put in funding to begin a county-wide climate resiliency and shoreline retreat planning, not a study, a county-wide plan. We met with the experts, with floodplain planner, and his recommendations were to ensure that we invest more in open space and ag land. I supported Councilmember King's budget priority to secure the land at Ma'alaya to restore health of that watershed and wetlands. This land can be used to catch the rain using permaculture techniques, which slow the runoff to reduce siltation and to maximize aquifer recharge. We see with climate change, there will be less rain in places that we used to get a lot of rain, and more rain in places that we didn't used to get as much rain. So this is something that we really have to plan for. We need to invest more into the health of our wetlands, which serve to filter out the pollutants carried in the runoff into the ocean. We need to plan to have these areas to serve as drainage that will make it into the healthier wetlands. This will require careful planning and courage to make these decisions because we cannot keep kicking the can down the road. It's really important that we continue our efforts in protecting our watersheds, as Council did this last budget session. Mahalo.
Thank you, Kiani, and thank you for your help to get me back on track. Now Kiani takes the next question, the new question with a 2-minute limit. At what point should managed retreat from threatened coastal areas in South Maui, such as North Kihei Road and sections of South Kihei Road, begin to be executed? And what do you think is the best remedy against the future loss of South Kihei Road? Kiani, you have 2 minutes, please.
Mahalo, Mike. So this is definitely the billion-dollar question. It's not going to be easy, but the obvious answer is it will require community meetings, willingness to make hard decisions, including recognizing the associated costs and potential loss of revenue, planning for the future, and really sticking to the implementation of this plan. As I mentioned earlier, I secured funding to create the Moloka Climate Change and Sea Level Rise Adaptation and Resiliency Master Plan. So starting with Molokai and then moving on to the other districts in Maui, kicking off conservation, climate change, and sea level rise adaptation, and resiliency master planning for all of Maui and Lanai. And this will be the first of its kind in the state. South Maui is also next in line to update their long outdated community plan. So I expect these types of discussions to happen very quickly. Mahalo.
Thank you, Kiani. Stacy, same question for you, please. 2-minute limit. And you see the question up there, so I will not read it again. Stacy, 2 minutes when you're ready, please.
Thank you. The obvious is we should manage to retreat from the coastal and the climate changes that has all the impacts on our roadways as well as our residents and just about anyone who's along the coastal lines. So we know, again, this is like talking about the same thing with the floods. We have to have a plan to move our infrastructure so that we will be able to be safely retreated, if that's the proper approach to it. And for the areas that we have there, we can protect our roadways, but more important, I believe that we will work with our coastal zone people that have the expertise and how we are going to work together in the South Maui community plan for the community to make decisions as to how they want to create some development to retreat off from the coastal areas that will be providing some sort of unsafe or to provide the safety that we need for our community. So they'll have the opportunity in Kihei or South Maui to have the further discussions with their community plan and provide recommendations for the future infrastructure and its systems and all of the necessary needs for the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stacy. And Stacy, you start the next one. This is also a 2-minute limit. How will you reduce the gap between supporting infrastructure, including open space and greenways for exercise and mobility and new development? So 2 minutes. Go ahead,
Thank you.
Stacy.
So open space is nothing new for me and my involvement with the community and my involvement with the Moloka Land Trust and how we've established having the perennial watershed at Kainalu, how we have the Mokio point of 1,600 acres of open space. But the thing about just having open space is not just open space. We've got to be able to see the value of the land that will tell the story of its history and the cultural significance of it that goes way back from the time of my ancestors. And that's kind of what the difference on when we plan to develop and establish the Moloka Land Trust. Greenways are a necessity, especially in this day and age. We need to be car-free and have the opportunity to have the bikeways, but also the walkways. Many of us, besides being bike riders, we can also do the walking. So I think it's important that the community plan, I think you have an opportune time in South Maui to come up with the recommendations and how we are going to, I don't think it should be so costly if we can just identify all of the available lands that we would like to, or the community would like to convert into our greenway and whatever corridors we need to have the bikeways, or is it some sort of bus transit or just car free and walk the miles. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stacy. Kiani, same question for you with a 2-minute limit. And the question is, there it is, so I will not read it this time. Kiani, take it away for 2 minutes when you're ready, please.
Hello, Mike. So the South Maui Community Plan is coming up next. And this is how we can reduce the gap in supporting development that complements rather than disregards our valuable open space corridors and greenways. Our community plans set the stage for master planning and take into account the district's vision for the community's use, broad and inclusive long-range planning. During the planning process, we look to the past to identify the historic lay of the land, waterways and green spaces, and work with the Aina, not against it. One beautiful example of Malama Aina is the Sierra Club's project, who is doing, they're doing a tree planting day at the end of this month, PSA. And I look forward to working with the community to secure the right locations for these purposes. Mahalo.
Okay, great. And I have to give a plug. Every time I give him a plug, he says, no, that was Rob Weltman, who heads up Sierra Club. He's also our vice president. He's also the tech wizard that's making all this work tonight. That was his plan as an individual. He brought it to Sierra Club. So yes, we're all looking for more trees, and boy, do we need them in our region. Okay, so our next question, we're getting toward the end. Kiana, you start this one off, please. 90 seconds. What future would you like to see for the remaining North Kihei wetlands, and how would you realize that vision? Kiani, 90 seconds when you're ready, please.
Mahalo, Mike. Managed retreat and floodplain protection, restoration of fish ponds, wetland protection, and replanting of Naupaka and other native plants to help control erosion of the dunes, which is a natural buffer for the inevitable sea level rise already occurring. We must look back upon our Ike Kupuna for guidance. Their methods were proven over centuries, and we must implement those brilliant ideas. We also have, the council has also invested in sand dune restoration and restoring healthy wetlands. And I think this I think North Kihei could be a beautiful model of this type of good stewardship. Mahalo, Mike.
Thank you, Kiani. Stacy, same question for you, please. 90-second limit. So take it away when you're ready, Stacy.
Thank you. We know wetlands plays an integral role in the ecology of our watershed. Its existence is of ecological value. Protecting and improving our watershed or wetlands will provide fish and wildlife habitats. It's like a biological supermarket that provides volumes of food, that attract many animal species. And it also helps with the flood water and maintenance of our flow of water quality also. So I think, if I think back, even like on our island, we have wetlands that we're trying to bring back so that it's part of it's its own watershed. It also provides for water source for generations to come also. I think like in Kihei, I think near St. Teresa Church, you have Laie wetlands, and I believe at one time it came before council, and we actually supported the community's effort to disallow some commercial building, and we wanted to identify the wetlands so that it could be further restored. So you have a community that work towards that, and I believe as policymakers, it's the intent to support the community's position on providing these I would say the savings of wetlands. And Kihei also has the same kind of landscape.
Thank you, Stacy. Okay, Stacy, you get to start the last question, and this is a 90-second limit. Allowing nutrient-rich water to reach the ocean through the Kihei injection wells is not only detrimental to the reefs and our precious marine environment, but it's also a waste of water in a very dry and thirsty region. How will you accelerate the transition of so-called wastewater from the Kihei injection wells to use in irrigation? Stacy, you have 90 seconds when you're ready, please.
Thank you. So we've often heard in South Maui or Kihei that the commercial buildings or also condominium sites have attempted to use recycled waters for their irrigation. And that's something that has been going on for several years. And I think the county can learn from that approach. So I believe we need to increase the use of recycled water. There's no question about it. And to expand the use of it, because we know that agriculture is actually really the thirsty user for water. So this would give us the opportunity to be able to really purify it as much as we can so that we can reuse it for agricultural purposes or for the farmers or the gardeners, in fact, as we try to supplement what's for our table. And then I believe, I'm not sure if it's still there, but if I can recollect, the administration tried to or may have appropriated some money to upgrade the system so that we could improve the system to utilize a recycling process to use for irrigation. And I think once we get that fully going, you'll have a greener South Kihei. Thank you.
Thank you. Kiani, so your answer to this last question, please. And you have 90-second time limit. So when you're set, Kiani, take it away, please.
Mahalo, Mike. I am in strong support of funding critical infrastructure upgrades to clean our wastewater and utilize our R1 water for irrigation. Last budget session, Council funded the West Maui recycled water system expansion to the tune of over $12 million using the West Maui recycled water verification study recommendations. During that same budget session, we proposed funding the South Maui verification study recommendations as well, but the department didn't feel comfortable that they had enough personnel or resources to manage both projects in tandem. They were able to find one project that is moving us in that direction and committed to continuing the momentum to focus on distribution upgrades for South Maui as well. This budget session, based on Council's guidance, the Department of Environmental Management proposed several projects, including securing land for us to reuse. Travis Liggett also presented a great idea of limu scrubbers before irrigating the crops that would benefit our community. I think the political will and overall consensus is that reuse is a top priority. This is an environmental issue, and I am committed to keeping at the forefront of our budgetary needs. Mahalo, Mike.
Thank you very much, Kiani. And it's time for those closing statements. And Kiani, you lead us off with your 1-minute closing statement, please.
Mahalo, Mike, and mahalo again to the Kihei Community Association for hosting tonight's forum. You did a wonderful job, Mike, at moderating our candidate forum. And mahalo again to everyone out in the audience watching in a good effort to be an informed voter. It's been an honor to serve you on the council, to make it easier for the community to engage and to pass initiatives that prioritize cultural and environmental protection, economic recovery, food security, and truly affordable housing. I will continue to make transparency, community empowerment, increased public accessibility, and participation in government a priority. I look forward to continuing to work hard for you on the council to get us successfully out of this pandemic and achieving economic recovery as quickly as possible. You can learn more about me and how to join my team at votekiani.com. I respectfully ask for your vote by November 3rd. Everyone in Maui County can vote for all council candidates. I'll put a plug in again. Mahalo to Sierra Club, who's doing a tree planting at the end, tree planting day at the end of this month. And I encourage everyone to vote yes on all 7 charter amendments. To all the candidates, mahalo again. Aloha.
Thank you very much, Kiani. Okay, Stacy, you get the last word. So your 1-minute closing statement, please.
Aloha, Mike. Aloha for your years of service, by the way. Thank you. I want to thank the Kihei community for your ongoing support for civic engagement. It's very important for all of us. So we know that we have been heavily impacted by COVID-19. We have struggling residents that are probably going to be shortening their benefits of unemployment. And we would have to try and find ways to support and create. Hello?
That was the 30-second warning. We finally had it to work.
Oh, oh my
Half a minute
God.
to go.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I ask you to support serious and committed leadership during this next 2 years. Will be very challenging for our community. You need a commitment from hardworking individuals that will serve on the council, not to raise taxes, not to add and expand government costs, because there's too many of our residents having the hardship of no employment. I ask you to vote for Stacy Helm Crivello. Mahalo and aloha.
Thank you very much, Stacy and Kiani. And personally, thank you for the words of encouragement. I had it for a while and I misstepped, but it's very gracious of you to give me the encouragement that we go on, because we do try hard. Sometimes we stumble, but we keep trying. But we thank you very much for coming out. And as we say in these contests, there's only one person that is the quote winner, but you're both winners because you're trying to help the community. You're going through all these challenges to try and make it a better community. Nobody is doing it to hurt the community. They're all trying. You may have different opinions, but we're all trying to get it to be a better community. We all love it, but it's not quite perfect, and we're trying to tweak it. So we thank you for coming out, and as we say, in the old days, we'd have at least 100 people giving you a standing ovation, but you only get one. But it represents our community that we appreciate you guys coming out, and we thank you for doing it. And on the other side, we don't have to say now get home safe because everybody is home safe now. So thank you to you two guys and the two from East Maui. And we encourage everybody who has not already voted to get those ballots in the mail. Thank you very much, guys. Mahalo and aloha.
Mahalo. Aloha.
Good night, all. Aloha.
Good night. Good job, Mike.
Thank you,
Thank you so much
Kelly.
for doing this.
Thank you.